Hey everybody, today is September 1st, 2013, and it's been well over a year since I posted a video to YouTube called Let's Talk About Power Lines, Reclosers versus Fuse Cutouts. And if you haven't seen that video yet, feel free to go watch it, but I will cover some basics on what that video was talking about. More or less I'll kind of recap exactly what the situation was. Basically, this power line out here, as you see, is a main feeder line. It's a three-phase line that runs along this main road. And this power line back there is a single-phase line. It's more or less a single-phase lateral line that serves this neighborhood right here. A total of 28 homes are served by this line. And for those who do not know what a recloser is, it is that gadget right there on the pole. That is a recloser. It is a circuit breaker that obviously can reclose itself. It will do this 3 times before it locks out. And a fuse is on the next pole down there. You can probably see there's a power line that comes off the main line. It serves like 3 houses. And you can barely see it, but there's a fuse on that line. And if you're careful to look at this pole here, you can, at the very top, you can see the cutout where the fuse used to go, and you can see the fuse hanging on the side of the pole. The sun is hitting it a little bit. You can actually see its reflection. It's a little bitty thing, only like a foot or so long, maybe a 1.5 feet long. Not very big. That is a fuse. And this power line used to be protected by just a fuse cutout. Most single-phase lateral lines are protected by fuse cutouts. And more or less, a fuse, obviously, most of you guys know what a fuse does. It blows when there's more or less overcurrent. And these fuses are called expulsion fuses. They actually explode when they operate. As you may have noticed, they're shaped kind of like a barrel. They have a cylinder shape to them. The fuse material is inside the barrel, and it's coated with an explosive material. And when the fuse gets hot and operates, this explosive material explodes, blowing the arc at the bottom of the barrel. There's another fuse cutout, just for an example. You can actually see it. But basically, this entire line was protected by one fuse, and we would lose power between 1 to 3 times a year, while the main line would still have service. Our neighbor next door, which are actually on their back porch right now, they are fed off of this line. You can see the transformer on the pole down there. They are fed off that line. And anytime we would lose power, they would still have electricity. And on this street back here, down a little ways, there was a pole that would get kudzu on almost every summer. And by the time August got here, we would get a nice thunderstorm. The kudzu would be completely up the pole. It would short the line and blow the fuse. But in 2011 and 2012, there was no kudzu on that pole. And Energy United, which is the service here, they did the right-of-way maintenance, more or less trimming trees and everything around their lines. So there was no trees touching the power line in 2012. And the fuse blew 3 times, I believe. between January to July. And every time the fuse blew, it was a temporary fault. All they had to do was just replace a fuse. Did not have to do any sort of maintenance to the power line, just replace a fuse. And I've always been the kind of person who likes to look up stuff on the internet, just do research and learn about things. Now obviously, as you guys know, I'm interested in computers and technology, but I'm also interested in power distribution. So I've learned quite a bit about how distribution equipment works, such as fuses, reclosers, voltage regulators, transformers, all that kind of stuff. And basically, I had a feeling that if they installed a recloser, it would solve a lot of the issues with this neighborhood. So when my dad called Energy United that day that we was out of power after a thunderstorm, yeah, the third time the fuse blew was due to lightning. So we was out of electricity for an hour and a half, and during that time my dad called Energy United and spoke with the customer service representative about the outage. And I asked my dad to mention reclosers to the representative. And when the lineman came out to replace the fuse, I also mentioned reclosers to him. So then they got the idea that they needed to do something about this problem. So the first thing they did was they come out and replace lightning arrestors on the main line that follows Crabapple Lane. And they installed fuse cutouts to every line that branches out from the main single phase line, such as right here. You can see how the line branches. And it goes about 3 poles down, serves 3 houses. So more or less the idea here is by installing the fuses on each sublateral. Like I said, if this tree caused a fault, it would only cause an outage for 3 houses rather than 28. So that's the first thing they did. And I believe they did have a shorting lightning arrestor on one of these transformers down here, but like I say, they replaced those to isolate that as an issue. And then about 4 or 5 days later, they installed this recloser. They installed that in late July 2012. And I actually got footage of them doing the maintenance on not only installing the recloser, but I also got footage of them installing the lightning arrestor. I'm going to share some of that with you so you can see for yourself. Yeah, I noticed that transformer did look pretty old. The numbers about wore off of it.
Yeah. Yeah, I heard saying that lightning around.
What did he say?
He said, well, if you ever decide you want something else, give us a
Sorry,
call.
we're not going, well, I ain't changing. Forget about it. I ain't paying your $33 a month. I'm spending $30 a year for my phone, so why should I waste my money on Switch?
So then I went to...
I'll tell you what, bad is that thing, those phone lines and lightning got worse than power lines are.
Phone lines?
Yeah. Mom and Dad up at their house, they had lightning hit there, and it come in on the phone line.
Yeah.
It was back a long time ago, but
Yeah.
it come in on the phone line and the modem, and it burnt the modem. It burnt the board up completely.
Oh yeah.
That was back like 15 years ago, back when $10.
Yeah, yeah.
They said that it's still under warranty and it does the work with everything. A motor blown up, but it
Yeah, I tell you, lightning is very finicky in what it can do.
the
I've
system is terrible on those running compared to
I've bought parts computers because I refurbish computers. I've bought parts computers. In some cases, I've had modems that had chips fried on them. You could see where lightning had come in and fried stuff in the modem. And there was one time where I had a motherboard which has the Ethernet LAN what connects to the internet.
Yeah.
It's advantage of the board. The chip had a hole in it.
Yeah. I just got done doing one. I do a little bit myself. So I just got done doing my 700K i7.
So anyways, you got to see some footage of them installing the lightning arrestors on the transformers and installing the recloser a few days later. And to be honest with you, it really shocked me when they it really surprised me when they installed the recloser, because I was not expecting them to do that. But they actually went with it and installed it. Normally reclosers are only installed on main lines like this one here. That switch pole right there used to have reclosers on it back in the 90s. And that was back when this line didn't have a whole lot of demand on it. More or less most of the demand was down there in a big neighborhood called Cedarfield that was built about that time. The rest of this line was still just a rural area, more or less fields and woods, that kind of stuff. No major demand on it from there on out. So more or less the years have passed and many new subdivisions have been built downline, so those reclosers got taken down. So anyways, now that you have a general idea of what reclosers are, they're going to explain the difference service has been since they installed this recloser here. It has been a night and day difference. The only time our power has been out was when the main line was out. There has not been a single service call for this neighborhood since they installed this recloser. The only reason linemen have been back in this neighborhood was to replace street lights. They have not had to make any repairs to the power lines. No, they haven't had to replace any fuses on this line. This power line has not had a problem since they installed this recloser. So more or less, in the past years, they would be here at least, I don't know, 2 to 3 times a year. A matter of fact, one time they was out here 2 times in one day. Yes, we had blown 2 fuses in one day. That was in August 2010. But anyways, ever since they installed that recloser, it has been a night and day difference. So yeah, I figured I'd just give you a little update on the difference in service since they installed this thing. And what's really funny is the lineman actually installed the recloser. He is in 2 of my college classes this semester. Very kind of caught me by surprise, but yeah, the lineman that installed the recloser is in 2 of my college courses this semester. He is in my networking class, and he's in the same class, same electronic device and circuits class this semester. But yeah, anyways, any questions or comments, feel free to ask, and thanks for watching.